Hi there, welcome to AP Gopo. I'm Taylor Olson and I'm wearing a fancy blazer, so you're going to trust everything I have to say. Now I'm going to punch this dragon and we're going to pretend it's an eagle. Alright, today we're going to be talking about Brown v. Board, the Supreme Court case, unlike many others, that actually changed the precedent before it. In this case, it defined the idea of separate but equal. Let's take a thought bubble to separate but equal.
So, separate but equal. Basically, the legality of the segregation of public facilities so long as equivalent facilities were provided for each racial group, which in practice was seldom the case. This happened in places like restaurants and diners where some seats were for black people, some seats were for white folk. It also happened in bathroom facilities. Again, some were for black people or colored people, others for white people. It even happened on buses. You might remember Rosa Parks, who famously said the word no. Wait for it, thought bubble within the thought bubble. Plessy v. Ferguson. Plessy v. Ferguson was a Supreme Court case in 1892 involving a man by the name of Homer Plessy. A lot like the bus, Plessy was boarding a train in Louisiana that he had bought a first-class ticket for. The issue was that the first-class seats were for whites only. What the heck? Plessy, a Creole man with a big beard and significantly different appearance than this stock character, likely could have passed for a Caucasian man. But when asked by the conductor for his ticket, he spoke up and told the man, "I have to tell you that, according to Louisiana law, I am a colored man." This was not okay according to train rules, as blacks had their own car. This upset Plessy, leading him to take his situation to the courts and eventually the Supreme Court. After 4 total years of fighting his case through the court system, the Supreme Court ruled that separate but equal facilities were constitutional and were not in violation of the 13th or 14th Amendment, therefore formally legalizing segregation.
Brown v. Board, Oliver Brown filed a class action lawsuit against the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas. He said that when his black daughter was not admitted to an all-white elementary school, it violated the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment specifically says that no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws, which this is specifically called the Equal Protection Clause. Okay, in the arguments of the case, the challengers of segregation argued that, in the ruling of Plessy v. Ferguson, the Supreme Court did not take into consideration the social or psychological effects that segregation would have on students in school. Oliver Brown's daughter, Linda Brown, showed testimony that the segregation in public schools lowered well-being of students and the students subject to the colored schools. Legal segregation created unequal education and low self-esteem in minority students. Oliver Brown found that his daughter Linda Brown's situation was unacceptable. She had to walk several blocks to a colored school that provided lower education and caused lower self-esteem in his daughter. If you're like me and you forget your ID when you have to leave campus and you have your friends pick you up from the back of the school just to drive you all the way to the front, you probably wouldn't like walking this far either, thus proving that this is a very unreasonable thing. So, the ruling of this case was a unanimous vote of 9-0, ruling that segregation in public schools was unconstitutional according to the 14th Amendment. I'm Chief Justice Warren. On behalf of the 8 other justices, we have ruled that segregation in public schools is unconstitutional according to the 14th Amendment.
In the words of Chief Justice Earl Warren, more specifically, quote, "To separate them from the others of similar age and qualifications solely because of their race generates a feeling of inferiority as to their status in the community that may affect their hearts and minds in a way unlikely to ever be undone. The impact is greater when it has the sanction of the law, for the policy of separating the races is usually interpreted as denoting the inferiority of the Negro group. Any language in contrary to this finding is rejected. We conclude that in the field of public education, the doctrine of separate but equal has no place. Separate educational facilities are inherently unequal."
What's really important is that this case changed the precedent set by Plessy v. Ferguson and paved a road for the civil rights movement as well as education for the rest of America and future generations. Hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this crash course, and I'm going to punch this eagle one more time.